So the first big thing that I want to talk about on your paper is that when I was looking at your submission, ugh, the bar is getting in the way. It says you have a 52% plagiarized thing. Okay. So what I want you to do you know what the OU Writing Center is?
No.
Okay. So let me pull them up. Okay, screen share. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I just Google searched OU Writing Lab, and then you're gonna hit this link. Okay. And then you're gonna scroll down, make an appointment with us. Okay. And then you're gonna click make an appointment, or if you're not registered, register. And they have two kinds of appointments. They have a video conference,
Mhm.
and you can do that if you would like, but I want you to do the written feedback. So the written feedback is basically you're going to submit your paper and tell them what you want to check, right? And
Okay.
they'll annotate it and give it back to you, and then they'll be able to find all of the like plagiarism mistakes and everything that you need to fix,
Okay.
right? And that's the easiest way to do that, right? So just the OU Writing Center, OU Writing Lab, and this will pop up. And then already registered. Hold on. Let me show you. Make an appointment. Let's just log in. I don't want to update my profile right now. Let's go back one. Make appointment. Bro, just show me the screen. Okay. To schedule. So they have all these options. Okay. So they have a bunch of different options. You can do in person or you can do, I'm pretty sure you can still do in Zoom. Okay.
Is there like a certain percentage that I should be like under? Because I guess it was mainly just because I thought it was more of like a research paper. Um, I mean, maybe I just like set it up wrong, but
That's what
I
I
thought,
think. I think the problem is when you were quoting things,
yeah.
I think you put the in text citation, I think you put it in the wrong place. But they'll
Oh,
be able to give you like a full in-depth of like this is how you can fix it.
okay.
I don't know what percentage you need to have exactly, but this is
Okay.
too much. So like 52% is a lot. And you should be able to look at this yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you have a 30% match with this one website, Baylor
Okay.
University. It's a student paper.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. Did you pull this from somewhere?
I mean, I just got some stuff off some like sites. Um, and like I was trying to like make it more of like just like research. So I was like putting some of the like the information that I got down and kind of like trying to like um switch it up a little bit and just like kind of just like support like what like I got my information to help like support what I'm like saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. What Turnitin is saying is that this matches a paper that somebody else submitted
Okay.
on from Baylor University. So a student paper. So somebody at Baylor submitted a paper and that this is really similar, like these couple sections. So I was
Okay.
wondering if you pulled it from a website or something and then you tried to re-summarize it or something.
Probably.
Yeah, so just kind of reword it or something. And when you go
Okay.
to the writing center, they'll be able to help you with that.
All
No
right.
big deal
Okay.
for right now.
Okay.
When you submit your rewrite, if it's still a problem, then we are gonna have to like go through it because you
Right.
can't submit a paper that is that similar to other people's paper.
Yeah. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Yeah, so I'd say aim for, I think it's under 20%,
Okay. All
right?
right.
To aim for around
Sorry
10%.
about that. I guess I was just like trying to, because I thought like since it's research, I just kind of just like put it down and like I wasn't trying to like copy necessarily. I was just trying to like support like what I was saying.
Oh no,
guess.
I get it. I get it. That's why I'm bringing it up, and I'm
Just-
not mad. Like it's only a problem if you submit it to her,
Right.
right? Because this isn't your final submission.
Yeah.
And then the one that you're gonna submit, like your rewrite, that is also not your final submission, right? Because
Yeah.
those are just the ones that you're submitting to me. It's a problem when you submit it to her.
Okay.
Okay, so right now you're all good. That's why we have these meetings, so I can be like, hey, this is a problem. We need to
Right.
address it,
Okay.
right? Okay, so you're starting off your description. And when I was reading this, I didn't know this was your description. I was just reading it.
Uh-huh.
It keeps flagging this, but this is how you spell the movie, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I'm pretty sure it is like happiness. I might
Yeah.
have Googled it, yeah.
So,
Yeah. But for like an abstract, this is a really good abstract to start off with, right? The Pursuit of Happiness is this biographical based upon real life. So if I were you, I would change this. I don't remember until where, despite the media psychological expert in society. I would make this your abstract, right? Because your description, it is kind of weak, your description, because you don't have a lot of like your quotes are good. I really like the fact that you added quotes. That is a really good thing. It'll really help in your interpretation.
mm,
But you need to describe more in the sense of like, oh, the movie opening scene is like this, and these are things that are happening, right? So paint more of a visual picture, right? Because you're just kind of describing the plot a little bit, right? So I know it's happening, but if I'm someone who's not familiar with the movie, then I'm going to be like, okay, but I don't really know what is happening, you know? So the reader should be able to visualize it a little bit more, right?
okay.
But you're beginning, this would be a great abstract.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Real life story, autobiography, because you're just talking about the movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In your description, you're just talking about it, but like you're not bringing up the significance of like, oh, they don't have a place, they don't have a homeless shelter, so they have to stay in a bathroom, right? Like talk about that scene in the movie, right? Because from what I know, that has like significance to what you're talking about as well, right?
Right.
So just be a little bit more descriptive, and it's okay if your description for this movie, you could make your description like 2 whole pages of just telling me what's happening,
Okay.
right? Your analysis is good, especially when you get to like right here. But I want you to use some more buzzwords like symbolism, right? So there's from what I know about this movie, I haven't seen it, but I'm familiar with it. It's a really popular movie, right? There's a lot of symbolic moments, like you talk about the basketball, right? These are all things that to like Will Smith's character, they symbolize something, right? Like his son not being good at basketball, that's his way of like he's then projecting that, right? Of like you're not good, but then it's like a trigger for him also, right? So I want you to talk about symbolism in your analysis throughout the film years. I wanted to say something else about this. And I want in your analysis, make it a little bit more concise.
Okay.
Just a little bit more concise. Like what I mean is make your ideas a little bit more specific. So here you use like a couple sentences to describe one idea, make it like one sentence, right? So just so it's like get to the punch sooner for your analysis,
Okay.
right? And then once you go more into detail with your description, you'll have a lot more to interpret, right? Because when you make your analysis long and not concise, you're talking about your talking points in your analysis, right? When they should be going in your interpretation,
Okay.
right? And what I've been telling other students is your analysis is kind of like your promise to the reader, right? When you use certain buzzwords like symbolism, poverty, all these things, it's like you're saying, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about these huge issues, and then you're delivering on that in your interpretation, right? So use some buzzwords in your analysis, right? Because
Okay.
isn't this is like about poverty and struggling and like,
Right.
right? So talk about that in your interpretation. Talk about poverty. I haven't looked at your sources that much, but add in another source about like poverty in America, use statistics, right? About people struggling in poverty and everything, right?
Okay.
And then that'll give you a lot more things to talk about because your interpretation should be your biggest section, right? Should be your biggest or your second biggest, right? Your description and your interpretation, those are the two biggest sections that you should have,
Okay.
right? And this section is the most important because this is your why. You're like, hey, Miss Professor Thurston, this is why I'm talking about it, and this is why it's important, and this is why you should care about this media, right? This is the significance of it. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. And then your evaluation. Before I get to your evaluation, your engagement is really, really long, like 4 pages. That is a really long engagement. You're going to have to cut a lot of that. Okay. So try to make it, because you did bring up a lot of good points in this. And this is where like a bunch of your sources are coming from. So I want you to shift focus a little bit because you're talking about more so what other people think of the media. Now let's focus on the media itself, right?
Mhm.
So make your engagement like a page and a half,
Okay.
right? And the reason I'm saying that is like usually for students, I would tell them to make their engagement like a page or less. But for you in your engagement, you're talking about how people like the movie, but also the significant impact of the movie. With a movie like this, the impact is really important to your point, right? Because isn't that what you're focusing on? How like poverty, how it's helping people, it's motivating them,
Yeah.
right? Still cut it down, but keep most of what you have, just make it like a page and a half,
Okay.
right? And then your evaluation from what I saw was good, but I want you to critique the movie a little bit more. The best way for me to describe it to you is like imagine you're a food critic, right? A food critic is not going to be talking about how, oh, the waiter's cute or like, oh, the menu was aesthetically pleasing, right? A food critic is going to be like, this was good about it, this was not good about it, right?
Mhm.
Right. And this you could like pull a lot more from the movie, but this was pretty good. Just give me a lot more of like how your thoughts,
Okay.
right? But in an objective way, right? Like Will Smith's, like something, yeah, that's a really good point to bring up. Will Smith's performance in the movie really brought the movie to life and it helped audiences feel for the character more, right?
Mhm.
Because from what I know and like the scenes that I've seen, Will Smith did a great job, right?
Right.
He really brought the movie to life in a way that anybody else would have made the character fall flat, you know? Will
Yeah.
Smith made it relatable, and that's something really good to bring up in your evaluation. Yeah. And I think I've said all that I need to say. Do you have any
Okay.
questions?
I do not.